After a nice breakfast, we left the homestay and got on the boat again and went through the Mekong Delta, and really was atmospheric going through all the water hyacinths, and you could see how the people actually lived on the river. The nature of the river changed as we went through it. Sometimes it was very agricultural, other times it had fishermen in the river looking after their fishing nets, trading sampans and junks passing by, people harvesting water hyacinth which are then boiled to feed to the pigs. Then we had a sampan ride, and gosh, the arms on this lady must have been amazing to just row us through this, although she did use the motor. But you soon realised that you wouldn't want to swim in it because sometimes it was a bit whiffy, and I don't think there's much in the way of sewage treatment there, but it was really atmospheric going through the delta. And again you saw how people actually lived. It's swastika encrusted coffins for sale on the side of the river, and these are the sort of boats that people lived on. Then all too soon it was the end, and we returned to the boat to continue on through the more open sections of the delta. We visited another floating market, but these are in serious decline because everybody uses vehicles to get their produce to market these days. Then we reboarded the bus, and after a very long transfer to Saigon, we visited the War Museum, which reminded you of the other side of Saigon. The images of the effects of Agent Orange are truly horrifying. There are still people today who are suffering from this. Horrible birth defects and carcinogenic effects of the dioxin that was used to kill large swathes of the vegetation so the Viet Cong soldiers could be seen and bombed. You despair and wonder what it is about the human race that we are driven to kill each other in the most horrific way possible, endlessly, as we can see with the war in Ukraine. All the boys with their toys and their killing games on their computers and phones need to see things like this to remind them of the real world. This particularly harrowing exhibit explains how a soldier was left by his commanding officer to massacre a group of unarmed civilians, and they were then even more harrowing scenes where they just pushed them off cliffs. Again, you do despair about the human race and its seemingly unstoppable desire to kill each other in the most horrifying way possible. I hope that Americans visiting this will realise that gun control is essential and that war is not glorious. We then visited the Reunification Palace, which was where the final days of the South Vietnamese holdout against the North Vietnamese ended. Very palatial. It's probably something like a Four Seasons hotel. This is the room where they finally realised that the war was over and capitulated to the North Vietnamese. Again, lots of luxury and splendour. It's still used now as a conference facility of some sort. For a change of scene, we visited the very French-inspired post office, which actually looks like the inside of a railway station. I bought myself, strangely enough, a traditional Vietnamese hamsi. They look absolutely gorgeous on slim, elegant Vietnamese ladies, not so much on me. This is the crazy traffic. I wore my hamsi with pride to the final meal, and then we had a short walk through the crazy traffic. You basically have to just walk out in front of people and have faith that they will stop. They take no notice whatsoever of the traffic lights. Our leader, Mr. Tan, had no fear as he stood out, and we followed him, and the traffic parted. This is the centre. There was this vast pedestrian area with lots of local people out enjoying, socialising, playing games and stuff like that. And it really is a truly, vivacious, magical, busy city. But extremely hot, about 30 degrees, so I was absolutely roasting in my hamsi. Locals seemed to like the fact that I had donned the native garb, however. Again, walking in front of the traffic, crazy. And then finally we walked back to our hotel and air conditioning.